live. Checking my mic. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Monday, June 1st. Not even going to talk about how crazy that is. Already entering that halfway point of 2026. Hope you guys had a nice weekend. It's finally, rain is dying down a little bit. Weather was nice. We're ready to start another awesome week. See, get myself set up here. I got one person watching. Good morning, whoever you are. When you drop in, drop a comment. And we can just go ahead and put it out. What was your favorite workout from Hero Week last week? We are coming off of a huge week in the gym. 6 days, 6 very tough workouts, but it was a huge success. We raised and donated $1,000 to the Warrior Alliance, which is definitely the highlight of the week. I loved seeing how excited everybody was about, the challenge of completing those workouts, showing up each day, giving it your all, even though they were hard and they were long and they were heavy and all the things, but you guys did a great job. But yeah, man, I always forget how tough these workouts are. But I'm also always reminded about how fit our athletes are. I was doing these workouts in some of the classes, just watching you guys blow past me, which is so impressive. We got Cameron here. He says Murph was his favorite because it was his first time doing it and he is never going to forget. I can guarantee it. He is never going to forget that workout. What's going on with my screen? There we go. I knew something looked weird. I don't know if you guys could see it on your end, but my view was all weird. But I think we're good now. But yeah, Cameron crushed Hero Week. We had so many people come out and crush Murph. Memorial Day workout. I think we had almost 65 people between my little small group that Lauren and I had at 8 a.m. and then the big class at 9 a.m. here in Grant Park. 65 people take on, I thought was the toughest workout of Hero Week, but then I did Thursday's workout and I might have changed my mind. I had some moans and groans about how it was harder than Murph, but that also is probably because it was Thursday and not Monday. We were not fresh. We were feeling tired for sure. But yeah, Hero Week, if you did all the workouts, you definitely are feeling it, and it was a lot of running. Way more running in 1 week than we ever program at Oxfit. It was a lot of squatting, really tested your grip strength, whether it was hanging on to heavy barbells or hanging on to that pull-up bar, and then just getting used to a long workout that, yes, there were time caps, but the time caps weren't super challenging, so most people were forced to just kind of get through the workout, which is also something that we're not totally used to in the gym. I normally have you guys working on a clock together for a set amount of time and then resting together. So the fact that you had to just stare down the barrel of a long workout and get it done, that's an added challenge in itself, but you guys did great. And then definitely got a little bit of reprieve on Friday and Saturday. Lauren said she loved doing EVO with a partner. We did have partner versions of some hero workouts on Friday and Saturday just because I know we were hurting. Because, if you've been at Oxfit for a long time or you maybe haven't spent time in other functional fitness gyms, you'll know that Murph is very famous, very popular. There are so many gyms across the country that do that workout on Memorial Day. And then they just go back to normal the rest of the week. So it's kind of unique that Oxfit does a full Hero Week. Hero workouts are not meant to be done back to back to back. They are meant to be like a challenge. Maybe on a Saturday morning, your gym will get up and do a workout like Eva Strong. They definitely don't do that workout on the tail end of, 4 hero workouts that you did earlier that week. So if we look at just everything we accomplished, over the course of Monday to Saturday. If you did all of those workouts, you ran over 5 miles across the week. We had over 200 reps completed where you had to hang from the rig, over 375 squats. 75 of those were with a heavy barbell, 300 push-ups, thousands of pounds moved, whether it was a kettlebell, a barbell, whatever it was. And a lot of us did all of that while wearing a weight vest. So that was an average of 3.5 hours of on the clock workout time. That doesn't include, I mean, each class is an hour, right? So that doesn't include our warm ups, our cool downs, all the reps we have to do with an empty barbell to get warmed up to put weight on the bar. So from the time the coach said 3, 2, 1, go until the workout was over, we were working out for 3.5 hours across this whole week, which is crazy. That's a lot on our bodies. That's a big toll, but just something to be so proud of. And then also, if you were a coach over in Grant Park or one of our volunteers, our final hero workout of the week on Saturday was replacing the rig in Grant Park. So if you have not been to Grant Park yet today, it's only 10 a.m. So a lot of you probably haven't. We have a nice surprise for you guys in the gym. But yeah, it was just a lot of volume, a really amazing week. And you were able to do all of that because of your regular day-to-day OxFit training. The work we put in and day out built you up to a place where you could put in all of that volume and time moving. And you can just kind of reflect, when is the last time you ever come to an OxFit class and I ask you to run a mile, do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and run another mile? Never. But you were able to do it because of the way we program our training. So I hope that this gives you so much confidence to know that your training is building you up to be able to accomplish more than just a 60-minute workout class. If you go to a gym and you work out for 1 hour every day, or maybe 3, 4, 5 days a week, and the only thing you can use your fitness to do is to go to another class at the same gym, you're not training. I don't know what you're doing for an hour, but at OxFit, we train. So coming to OxFit for 4 to 5 days a week for an hour-long class each time allows you to do a hero week, a Murph, a triathlon, a 5K, a CrossFit competition. All of these things are possible because of how much variety and intensity and recovery is mixed into our day-to-day training. And that's why every workout doesn't have to be long and heavy and the hardest thing you've ever done to be effective. It would actually be the opposite. If we did the level of work that we did last week, every single week at OxFit, you would not get fitter. You would not get stronger. You would not be a better athlete. You'd probably be injured and just exhausted. So that is my call for you guys, is to let this fill you up with confidence to know that the work you're putting in every single week at OxFit is actually making you so strong and so fit. And I hope that coming to Hero Week and doing those workouts made you realize that. And I know some people coming in today were definitely still feeling sore, feeling tired, which is totally normal. So don't be afraid to take a step back this week. Use some of these workouts as some active recovery. Keep your body moving, and just, keep moving forward and be proud of what you did last week, because it was awesome. And I hope it gets you guys excited about maybe testing your fitness again in a different way. In about 3 weeks, we have DECA coming up. And if you can do any of those hero workouts we did last week, you can do DECA Strong or DECA Atlas. It's going to be here in Grant Park. June 19th, we're doing DECA Atlas. June 20th, Saturday morning, we're doing DECA Strong. We're going to be pushing those events super hard over the next few weeks, trying to get you guys to sign up. So once again, if you did those workouts last week, you can 1000% do one of these DECA events and just have another event on the calendar, another thing to do to just show yourself how fit you guys are getting. So, yeah, what a great week. I kind of have a double topic today. So, I definitely wanted to chat about Hero Week and hype you guys up, make sure you give yourself a pat on the back. But I also wanted to talk about a topic that has gotten, I mean, it's always been popular, but especially now that it's finally getting hot, the sun's coming back out. We just turned the AC on in both of the gyms for those days that we really need it. And I know we felt the heat last week with those hero workouts, but I want to talk about electrolytes. Do we actually need them? And kind of the truth about what hydration should look like in the gym versus what you are constantly being sold and what you might think you need versus what you don't really need. So, on social media, we will see people pouring packets into water bottles before workouts, after workouts, during meetings, while you sit at your desk, and sometimes just because apparently you're supposed to. That's kind of what it feels like. It's all over my social media, influencers being like, spend a morning with me. And they wake up and they pour a packet of electrolytes in a bottle of water. And it's like, oh, I didn't realize you were going to go run a half marathon today. And they don't. They just go get groceries and go to Pilates or whatever it is. Um, but they've become kind of the hottest product in sports nutrition. And they definitely have a really important role in performance and in hydration. But the conversation has drifted a little bit further from reality. So today I just wanted to get into it and answer a question of when do you actually need electrolytes and when are we just paying for flavored, salty water? So I want to cover what they are, why athletes need them, and who benefits from taking that supplement and who probably doesn't. So, what are electrolytes? These are going to be the minerals that carry an electrical charge when dissolved in fluids. The major ones are ones we've all heard of. It's sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and chloride. And they help regulate our fluid balance, nerve signaling, muscle contractions, heart rhythm, blood pressure. We know that an excess or a depletion in any of these electrolytes can cause cardiac issues. We can get cramps, we can feel foggy or kind of have a lack of mental clarity. So, without the proper balance of electrolytes, a lot of things can go wrong. They're definitely essential, but I think we have been taught and kind of tricked into thinking that because something is essential, we need more of it. We get the electrolytes we need naturally just by eating a balanced diet and drinking water. 99% of us can just go about our day staying hydrated with water, eating whole foods, mostly 3 meals a day, fueling our body properly, and you are not going to find yourself with a depletion of any electrolyte. So, why does it all of a sudden matter when it comes to exercise? You exercise hard, you think you need electrolytes, and that's usually because we sweat. So, sweat contains electrolytes, especially sodium. We know sweat is salty, and as you sweat more, you lose both fluid and minerals. And then, if those, oh no, what happened? Am I still alive? Okay, I think I'm good. My computer just flipped out. That was weird. Anyway, as I was saying, if we are losing those electrolytes, performance can suffer. We might be fatigued, have muscle cramps, reduced endurance, we might get dizzy, have a headache. And then in extreme situations, we can have an electrolyte imbalance that becomes a serious medical issue, which I think we're all aware of. And that's kind of why endurance athletes have used sports drinks for so long. Gatorade, Powerade. The original purpose wasn't really marketing. It was to actually fix a problem that was happening. So if you're running a marathon, you're cycling for hours and hours, playing a really long football game in extreme heat or anything like that, electrolyte replacement is super important. But the common theme with all of these things is that they are very long duration events, high sweat activities, and that is very different from most people's workouts. And I think a great example would be If you did Murph, or maybe our Thursday workout, one of these really long workouts, it was super hot, you were sweating a lot, that is probably going to be a good call for some electrolyte replacement. Versus we had a workout last week that was about 15 minutes long. Probably not going to need an entire electrolyte packet after that just because you're tired and you're sweaty. So no, the average person probably doesn't need electrolytes, and definitely not every day. An average OxFit athlete is going to lift weights and move their body for, we can say, an hour. You get here at the start of an hour, you leave at the end of the hour. You're not necessarily moving that entire time or working out with intensity that entire time. So for about 45 to 60 minutes, you're working out. In the summer, we have AC in the gym. If the AC is off, it's usually because it's not that hot outside. There's a little bit of a breeze. You guys eat normal diets, and I see the amount of water bottles that are brought into and often left behind in the gym. So I know you guys are drinking water, or at least thinking about water most of the day. So that person, that OxFit athlete, is really unlikely to develop a meaningful electrolyte deficit from a single workout. It's going to get replaced in the food you eat when you get home for dinner. And, for years, the message was super simple: just drink water. And then all of a sudden, hydration became a market. And suddenly now hydrating isn't enough. We need hydration multipliers. We need electrolyte sticks. We need performance hydration blends, recovery formulas, even IV intervention. People are going to get IV fluid replacement therapy with electrolytes in it. And that's just not necessary. For so many people, plain water just works fine. And if you're a person that wakes up and you sit at your desk and you work from home, you have a meeting, and the only time you're spending outdoors is walking your dog or walking to the gym for a 60-minute workout, don't get tricked into thinking that you need to pay, crazy amount of money for these packets. I know how expensive they are. They're like $1 to $2 a serving. So every day that's going to add up, and it's just totally not necessary. So when would you see an OxFit coach recommend you have electrolyte replacement? And I just think of Lauren and her endurance club, her run club. Those are the people that are going to be talking about when they're drinking their electrolytes, how much electrolyte are they drinking, all of those things. Because every week this summer, especially leading up to the triathlon and high rocks, and even our beach brawl athletes, we're going to be working out in the heat for longer than 90 minutes, and most of it is going to be continuous movement. So long distance running, long bike rides, when we go up to Red Top and do trail running and we swim in the lake, as we get closer to beach brawl, we're going to be doing workouts back to back to back in the same day. So over the course of 2-3 hours, doing multiple workouts, it's going to be hot. The longer these sessions are, the more valuable electrolyte replacement becomes. So that's something I think should be a good checklist for people: is how hot is it outside? How much am I sweating? And what's the duration of my workout? Is it 90 degrees, and did I go on a 2-hour walk with the dog and play outside with the kids, and I did a 90-minute endurance workout with Lauren this morning? That would be a perfect recipe for some, electrolyte replacement, a liquid IV, an element, whatever it is. And then also using it to combat kind of the unfortunate ways that we get depleted with electrolytes. Are you sick? Are you losing fluid so rapidly because you're throwing up, or you have diarrhea, or you have all of these things going on? Then that is going to be another great time to kind of use those electrolytes to your advantage. And then the opposite side, you probably don't need them if we're doing a regular OxFit workout, taking a short walk, sitting at your desk most of the day, or just sitting inside most of the day. If you already eat balanced meals, You already drink kind of an average amount of water. All of that is telling me you're probably fine. You're getting the electrolytes you need from your normal daily activities, and you don't need a supplement for it. Because you can definitely take too many electrolytes. That's definitely a thing. Our diet is super high in sodium as it is, so adding more on top of that is kind of unnecessary and just not, not something we need to be doing or wasting money on. So, yeah, once again, your simple rule of thumb for this kind of electrolyte craze is question 1, am I sweating heavily? Question 2, am I exercising for longer than 90 minutes? And question 3, am I training in significant heat or humidity? If the answer is yes to one or more of those questions, electrolyte replacement may be helpful if you feel like you need it. If the answer is no to all 3, water and normal meals will cover everything. Obviously, there's exceptions to every situation, but that's pretty much it. And that's kind of what I want you guys to keep in mind, especially, the clients I work with are always asking me, like, what supplement should I take? What should I be doing? Should I take an electrolyte packet? Should I take this? Should I take that? There's a situation where the answer could be yes to all of those things. But in general, if we're hitting our protein goals, we're eating mainly whole foods, eating 3 times a day, and we're staying hydrated with water, I'm never going to advise you to take an electrolyte packet unless you said yes to those 3 questions I mentioned just a second ago. So if you guys have big goals on the calendar, if you got super confident in yourself because of Hero Week, as you should have, and you want to set a challenge of doing beach brawl in September, the end of September, we've got the triathlon at the beginning of September. We're really going to be ramping up our run club and all of the endurance training as we go through DECA and all of these events in the fall. If any of that interests you, please email me, sav@ox.fit. I would love to be your coach, and I would love to help you navigate your training, navigate when to take electrolytes or whatever else comes up. That's what I'm here for. I love working with athletes and working with them to chase their goals. And 2026 could be an awesome year. We could crush another event the same way you guys crushed Hero Week. So I hope you have an awesome Monday, kind of getting up to my time limit I have for myself. Be proud of yourself. Just like Keith popped in, I didn't see this. Keith did his first weight vest Murph this year. Humbled, accomplished and humbled. I feel like that is the perfect description of Hero Week. Big accomplishment, but it humbles you. And Keith says do a DECA strong. It's so much fun. It is fun. And they're not very long. Each event is about 20 minutes or less. So way shorter than our Hero Week workouts. Honestly, shorter than a lot of the OxFit workouts we do each week. If you have any questions about DECA, want to know more about it, you can also email me about that. I will see you guys in the gym. Hope you have an awesome week. And if you're a Grant Parker, make sure you say thank you to your coach for building this sick rig for you guys. Hope you have a great day. Peace.